Okay, in this video I'm going to explain how to use if, else-if, and else statements. And the way I'm going to use this, or show you how to use them correctly, is by going through this example that I made for two other videos. So this was an example I did for pseudocode and getting input from the user. So basically, I had this problem right here. It says write a program that takes in coefficients a, b, and c of a quadratic equation, and then solves the roots, and then plots a graph of the function. So then I wrote the pseudocode first, and then wrote the code for the actual program down below. So now I'm going to go back in and add in some if statements in here. Okay, and so the area where I'm going to add in these if, else-if, and else statements is right here in this output right now. So right now, no matter what, it's going to print out two solutions, and it doesn't care if they're complex solutions, real solutions, anything. It's just going to print out two no matter what. So I want to pretend like we really don't like complex numbers. We don't care about them, even though I know that's not true. Everyone loves complex numbers. But let's pretend we don't want to display any complex numbers. So the way an if statement works is I'm going to just write if, and so right after the if part, we're going to say if one thing is true. So in this case, I'm going to say if we do have complex roots, don't print them. And so the way we're going to do that is first think about what makes a solution a complex solution. And so up here in my part of the program where I'm actually doing the quadratic formula, I have this part right here. So this is the part that's under the radical. And if you remember, if your value that's under the radical, so that's b squared minus 4ac, if that part is negative, then you will have a complex solution. Okay, so I can say, and notice I calculated this separately and I called it under root. So I can just say if under root is less than 0, so that means if there's a negative number under the radical, then we're going to display, let's not display nothing, let's just display something that says no real solutions. Okay, but now we have to worry about our normal case where we do have real solutions, right? So that's where we throw in an else statement. Else. So, or else, I'm going to just put a tab in there to make it look prettier, or else do the normal thing, right? Don't forget to always end your if-else statements. So I haven't done the else-if part yet, but I'll add that in a second. First, let's run this, make sure it works. So I'm going to type in an equation that I know has real roots, and so that's going to be when a is 1, b is 1, and c is -6. Okay, yeah, so here's our graph. It says the roots are 2 and -3. All right, let's run it again with an equation that has no real solutions. Okay, so that's going to be, here's an example, 6, 5, and 7. Right here we can see on the graph it's not crossing the x-axis, so there's no real solutions. And in fact, it prints out down here, no real solutions. Cool. Okay, now let me do one more example. What if we have one solution? So that would be the case if a was 1, b was 2, and c was 1. So it's just touching the x-axis at -1. But it says the roots are -1 and -1. So that's kind of repetitive, and we can definitely write some easy code to take care of that. So it just says there's only one root at -1. And so we're going to add that into our if-else statement. So to do that, you know, if always comes first and else is always the last one. But if you want to put one in between, you have to use else. Oh, else if. It's a new programming word. Okay, so else if what? So that means if the two solutions are equal, right? And so I have my two solutions. One of them is right here. This is when you do negative b plus or minus, or sorry, negative b plus the square root of everything under the radical divided by 2a. Down here, I called this the minus value, so this is where negative b minus the square root of everything under the radical divided by 2a. So if those two are equal, we just want it to print out one of the solutions because they're the same thing. Okay, so how do we say if they're equal? So else if plus, which is the value of the plus value, is equal to minus. And so when you're using else if statements, you always need to use this double equal sign. This means, this kind of asks the computer, is plus equal to minus? Is this value equal to that one? And it's fundamentally different than just having a single equal sign. So in this case, plus is equal to that. That's where you set a variable's value. And here, with the double equal sign, you're testing whether or not, you're asking, are they equal? So in the case they are equal, let's display something else. We're going to say, oh, and we've got to put it in like this. So there is only one real solution at, and since plus and minus are equal in this case, we can just do num2string and then put in whichever we want. So I'll put in plus. Okay, so I'll save that, and I'm going to run it and test it out with that same last case. So that was 1, 2, 1. No! Okay, I don't want to redo this video, so I'm gonna try to figure this out real quick. This is a good skill too for all you out there watching. Okay, oh, it's because I wrote dips instead of disp. Alright, now it's gonna work. Phew! Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 1. Okay. Ooh, thank the Lord. Okay, here we go. So there's only one real solution at -1, and that's exactly what we wanted. I hope that video helps you, and just remember, I guess to recap really quick, you're always going to do if statement first. You can put as many else ifs in there as you want to, then finish with an else, and then always end it. And that is it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.